The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into a Monday episode of Running Point as we start a brand new week on the show, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on the show every single day, and we thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their constant support of this show since day one. If you're tired of me saying it, then find another show, because we are forever thankful for what Greenwood Chevrolet has done for us here at Running Point. And we will continue to thank them for their constant support since day one. It's taken a lot of turns. It's changed a lot since the first day of Running Point, of course. But they've been with it. They've stuck with it. They've believed in it. They believed in what this show could be. We continue to try to follow their lead and go the extra mile for you guys who are watching in and have been tuning in all summer. That's what I've been kind of reflective this weekend, because it's kind of the end of local baseball. We have Palomino going on in next weekend, of course, with our Youngstown boys going to represent the Grit City in the Palomino World Series. And we have, Little League baseball still going on. The 11U Boardman team is still playing. We have some Little League softball players still going on, but none of those are playing. They're not playing locally. So the kind of local baseball, as far as going on in the area, has kind of been dwindling down with the end of the NABF Senior World Series. So I got kind of reflective a little bit. And man, I've been doing this all summer long, and it's been a grind. And I want to thank everyone for continuing to tune in this summer. I know it's not as easy per se as the running points that go on during the sports season, but I hope that I brought to you guys some solid entertainment in the middle of your days for the summer as we gear up for another sports season on YSN. So what we're going to do today, we have a great show for you lined up. Obviously, there was a lot that happened over the weekend. It was probably the last really busy weekend that we'll have until the fall sports season starts. But the NABF Senior World Series wrapped up at Bobsleyan Park. And we will recap all the stuff. We'll recap the Little League that happened, softball and baseball. We'll recap basically everything that went on over the weekend. And then we also have a brand new piece of content for you today with AJ Havrilla, a member of that Astro Falcons team that is going to go on representing Youngstown to play in the Palomino World Series. This is his fifth and last year as an Astro Falcon, which is amazing considering that it's an 18U team and he's been playing for it for 5 years, which means he was playing for the 18Us when he was 14, which is incredible by itself. We talked to him about that, talked to him about a lot of stuff, his baseball career, his senior season, going on to play at Marshall. It's a great interview, and it's probably the last one that you'll get of him as a local baseball player before he heads off into the college baseball world at Marshall. So that's going to be a great interview. We'll play that for you a little bit later on today too. But first, let's kind of recap all the stuff that happened. The NABF Senior World Series went off without a hitch until the last night. That's when the rain came and we had to have a little bit of a lightning delay. But other than that, really a great weekend of baseball down at Bobsleyan Park in the NABF Senior World Series. It went off just as well as the Sophomore World Series did back last weekend. We had a lot of games go down. So Avalanche started their trip with a 3-1 loss to the Ohio Tide. on Friday. And then we saw Whiting, who had a great weekend. They opened it up with an 11-0 win over the Longhorns. And then Nightline got a win over the Avalanche, 9-2, a Class B matchup. Astro Falcons opened up their NABF schedule with a 6-2 win over the Longhorns on Friday. Then we saw Whiting after that 11-0 win. I don't think that was their first game. Well, yeah, that was their first. No, that wasn't their first game. I'm sorry. So in their first two games, Whiting won 9-1, and they won 11-0. So they outscored their opponents 20-1 in the first two games of their NABF slate. They got cooled off a little bit in their third game, 5-3. They took the loss. Astro Falcons won their second game 14-0. We saw Nightline, who really played a great weekend, 4-3. They get the win over the Longhorns. But then Whiting got right back on track, 9-0. Their second shutout of the NABF World Series. I mean, they were really playing well. I think they took that one loss on the chin and they bounced back really well from it. So they beat the Titans 9-0. We saw the Astro Falcons continue to dominate throughout the weekend. 9-1, they got the win in their next game. Avalanche was able to pick up a win after a tough start with an 0-2 start. They won their third, 11-5. Nightline beat the Tide 8-4 in their next game. I mean, we're starting to see our Class B teams, Astro Falcons, dominating again, 5-0. They get the win. Nightline gets another win, 9-6. This is the progression over the weekend, right? So these are the scores that came in for our Class B teams. And then we saw Nightline 2-1 win over the Longhorns. That was a big one to give them some confidence and give them a propel and a close game victory over the Longhorns, a very good Longhorns team. Whiting got an 11-1 win. So other than that 5-3 score, Whiting was just making quick work of seemingly everybody in this NABF Senior World Series. The Astro Falcons got their next win, 9-2. Nightline, they took that close game and just bombarded their next one, 13-1, against a team that beat Whiting earlier in the weekend, 5-3. So that was interesting to see that score come up. That was probably the most surprising score I saw this weekend. I thought Nightline would get another big test from this team that came up and beat Whiting, which was one of the best teams that we were seeing over the weekend. But Nightline, they took it to them, 13-1. Was the final score there. We progress into the weekend and we continue to go. See, Whiting beats the Astro Falcons 9-3, and those were the two semifinals. So 13-1, Nightline got the win to get into the championship game. That was supposed to be a really close one, and it wasn't. Then Whiting beats the Astro Falcons 9-3. So two really big wins in the semifinals and two games that were probably not how you expected them to go. I don't think anyone expected not just Whiting to win, but they definitely didn't expect Whiting to win handedly, 9-3. And I don't think anyone expected Nightline to win handedly either. I think both these games were probably projected in a lot of people's minds down there at the park to be pretty close baseball games. And both Whiting and Nightline, both Class B teams, making us proud. They both just steamrolled their way through the semifinals. This is Nightline's second straight appearance in the NABF championship game. But then later that night, through a rain delay, it was Whiting that got the win over Nightline 12-4 to win the NABF Senior World Series. Congratulations to Whiting. I mean, this is a team that finished second in the Class B regular season standings. They had a great Class B season, and they followed it up with a fantastic NABF Senior World Series championship. And this is kind of like their potential, right? Because we saw them have a great 16U year last year. We knew some of those kids were going to be coming up in the next level and making their 18U program really good this year. And I don't want to say it didn't live up to the hype because they finished second, but they never poked the bear of the Astro Falcons too much, which a lot of people probably thought that they might because they did such a good job in the 16U division last year. But as we all know, Astro Falcons at 18U is a lot different than 16U. I mean, Astro Falcons literally takes the best players in their program, no matter what age they are, they put them on the 18U team. That's why we talked to AJ Hevrilla. That's why he was playing for them at 14 years old. I mean, 16U and 14U can be a feeder for replacing players like that. But at the same time, it's to think that beating Astros 16U team is the exact same as beating their 18U team. The scales aren't the same. But Whiting had a great Class B year, under the radar a bit though, right? Because like I said, a lot of people expected them to really be a solid contender, and it's weird to say they weren't in second place. But if you remember those standings back for Class B baseball, the interesting part of 18U was 2 through 8. I mean, Astro Falcons ran away with that first place spot pretty early. I would say by the halfway point, you kind of knew the Astro Falcons had that under wraps. They had a big 5-6 game lead. So once that happened, it was just Whiting's job to keep that second place spot. And that's what they did. They did a really good job doing that. Didn't get to the championship series. Nightline came out of the playoffs and won and got to the championship series. But Whiting gets a little bit of revenge and gets the NABF Senior World Series against a lot of really good teams from around the region, the state region, to win the NABF Senior World Series. So congratulations to Whiting. Once again, the final score there was 12-4. 12-4, they get the win. The MVP for that series was Ben Miller for Whiting. As he gets the MVP, Whiting gets the win. And what a great summer it was for those guys. And there's no better way to wrap it up than that. We go into Little League Baseball as the Boardman 18U. Ooh, calm down, Anthony. Boardman 11U team was able to get a victory on Saturday to open up the state tournament. They beat their first opponent 18-0. And then that's when things got wonky. I feel bad for these Little League teams because man, have they been hit by weather. We look back and we think high school season really had a pretty mild weather in the spring. We didn't have too many games get blasted. Our schedule wasn't drastically affected, especially compared to what it was over last spring. I mean, that was brutal. Yes, there was some weather, but it wasn't like a brutal spring weather-wise. And then you go into the high school tournament. We were almost never affected by weather throughout the entire state tournament. And then you go into the early parts of the Class B baseball season. Beautiful weather, both all-star games, beautiful weather for YSN. I feel like towards the end of the summer season and towards these Little League tournaments, that's when Mother Nature kind of paid us back for the quote-unquote mild weather that we saw in the first couple of months, because these poor Little League teams, both on baseball and softball, were just hammered with weather. I mean, remember the softball district felt like it was actually delayed 12 days for 10U, and it didn't even finish actually for 12U. Remember, there's no district championship played on the field. Austintown won the district in an arbitrary way, and they both went to state. They both would have went to state either way, but there was no district champion because they couldn't play it because weather was just hitting that district tournament hard. And now here we are in the Little League Baseball down to state, and they get hit by more weather last night. There was a weather delay that lasted about 2 hours. So a 2-hour lightning and weather delay makes everyone kind of sit around. The nerves start sitting in, the muscles get kind of tight. You can't warm up the way you want to. Not making excuses, because both teams obviously had to go through it, but that had a little bit of an effect. Boardman 11U loses to Hamilton last night, late into the night, with a 9-3 final score. But they're still alive. It's a double elimination tournament, just like district, so they still have plenty of opportunities to go into the losers bracket and still get a state championship. And the good news for them and everyone that is now playing, whether it be baseball or softball, if you lost in a game, if you get to the championship, it's not like it was in districts where you have to beat the team that gets out of the winners bracket twice. Once you get to the championship, it's winner take all. So all the pressure still gets put on the undefeated team when you get to the championship. You get a second chance. The other team doesn't. I get why they do it, because it's ESPN and they have to stick to the TV schedule and all that. I understand that there's a lot of logistics that go into that. That's not exactly a game decision. It annoys me because there's no really reward for going into the winner's bracket and winning it and going undefeated into the championship series. It's like, hey, you went undefeated. This team got to lose once, but you don't. You have to go and just go undefeated to win it. I always thought that was kind of silly, but it's good for the teams that lose. You still got a shot. You still have breath. You still have the ability to go out of the loser's bracket and win. It's exactly what Austintown softball did in the districts. Remember, they lost their first game against Boardman 3-1 and came all the way back to force the if necessary game before weather ended that district tournament. Talking about Austintown softball, we'll segue into their game yesterday in the regional tournament, and it was a absolute thriller. I mean, if you were able to watch this on ESPN Plus, you were treated to a really good softball game. Both pitchers were really good. I think it was Haley Haxon for Iowa, if I remember the name. Haxley, I think it was Haxley. She was big. Like, looking at her, I was like, she's already in high school. She had the 12-year-old face with the braces and, a young face, but like, she was tall. She was built. She had the frame that looked like she was already in a high school travel softball team. So she was a big girl. And then Mila Hamley, who was throwing, in the 60s, was pitching really well. It was scoreless after 7 innings, and they play 6 in Little League. So one extra inning where they don't put a runner on and went scoreless. Both pitchers' pitch count were really high. Mila Hamley was actually in the hundreds when they went into the 8th. And I think Haxley was a little bit behind her, maybe in the 90s, not too much. The pitch count was starting to tax them. You could see both pitchers starting to waver a little bit. And really, once you put that runner on second with nobody out and the pitch count's high, you're asking a lot of those pitchers. And it really comes down to who makes the least amount of mistakes behind that pitcher, because you got to imagine that both of those girls aren't going to have their ace stuff in the 8th inning and the 9th inning. So it comes down to what team executes better in those situations. And for this particular day, it was Iowa. They executed well. They got hits when they needed them. They ran the bases well in the 9th. In the 8th, their base running was kind of wonky. So was it for Austintown. Both teams lost their the announcer called it a ghost hitter, a ghost runner, which I never heard it called, but they lost their free runner on second before they were able to do anything with it. Both of them got caught off second. Iowa tried to straight up steal on Bella Bumgard, which is a mistake, and she gunned her down. And then I think it was a almost pass ball. The ball got blocked in front of the catcher, and Austintown's runner got just stuck in between second and third. So it wasn't a straight up steal. It was, I'm going to read the ball in the dirt. I'm going to make a run for it. But then the catcher made a good play for, blocking the ball, keeping it in front. And then, you're stuck in no man's land there. But both teams were able to still score 2 runs in the 8th after losing that free runner. Mila Hanley gets out of a big jam to keep it at 2, and then Austintown comes and ties it. And, I was thinking, after 8 innings, I'm like, man, Mila Hamley, she had to really grind through that last inning. She's at 100 and, somewhere around 120 pitches at that point. I wonder if they even thought, like, do we run with her, or do we bring Annabelle Mikesell in and try to, let them try to see a different arm? And it's probably a very tough decision, because Mila Hamley is probably one of the best pitchers that you'll see in that region. Obviously the fastest, clocking at 60, 61. And you don't want to not roll with the arm that got you there. But at the same time, I feel like in the other, on the other shoulder of that conversation, you could tell she was wavering in the 8th. The command wasn't there like it was in the first 7 innings when she gave up nothing. 2 hits in 7 innings, no runs. So you could kind of tell, it was starting to get to her. She was wavering a little bit. I'm sure Coach Hamley thought, if we can get out of that 9th inning with 1 or 2 runs even scored, then our offense can come and have the chance to win it in the 9th, because they should have won it in the 8th. A couple of base running errors. Again, kind of ended a rally for Austintown where they tied it, but they could have had the base is still loaded with 2 outs and another batter up if base running errors didn't just, kind of in that inning. So I'm sure Matt Hanley was thinking, okay, if Mila can come out, yes, she's wavering a little bit. If she can come out and at least hold them to 1 or 2 runs, which are doable, then we can get out of here. We can go give our offense another chance to go out and win this game. The problem was it snowballed a little bit, and I would put the bat on the ball. They were putting the ball in play. They weren't hard hit, balls. They were ground balls that got through the infield, put in the right spot, and they scored I think 6 runs in the top of the ninth to go up 8-2. Props to Austintown. They came up in the bottom of the 8th, and the first hitter, I think it was Bumgard, came up and just laced a single to score the free runner to make it 8-3. But they just couldn't rally all the way back. They lost 8-3. Is the moral of the story? Austintown loses 8-3 in their first game in regionals. They will play Wisconsin today, actually at 2:00. So right after you're done with Running Point, you can head over to ESPN Plus if you have the subscription and check out Austintown's next game against Wisconsin, where they try to stay alive. Now, Mila Hanley cannot pitch today. She has to take it off. The innings limit will keep her from pitching. So if the district and state was any indication, Matt Hanley will go with Annabelle Mikesell for his number 2 pitcher, and Austintown will have to win with her, which they did. They beat Howland, a very good Howland team, remember, that lost to Austintown and Boardman, the 2 best teams probably in the state, definitely in the district. They lost to both of them by 1 run, so it wasn't a slouch Howland team that Annabelle Mikesell pitched to and won against. So it's not like Annabelle Mikesell can't pitch and can't win. But they're going to have to do it with her in the circle, not Mila Hanley. But if they do win after the day's break, they can go back with Mila. And, of course, the hope is to play just 6 innings and to be able to keep coming back to her the next day. If they make it to Friday, which is the championship, like the state that I talked about in baseball, it will be the winner-take-all championship. There is no if necessary game in the regional. So if they make it out of the losers bracket, they put a lot of pressure on whoever makes it out of the winners bracket in that championship. It's winner take all. You have to be better than that team for 6 innings. And if you do that, you're a champion. You go to North Carolina. So Austintown still alive, still going for it. 2:00 today against Wisconsin. In Indiana, I forget the name of the city. It's like Whitehold or it's White something. But in Indiana, and 2:00 ESPN Plus is where you can find that game if you're interested in seeing what Austintown is going to be able to do. Now, 10U softball was also in action. We have 2 teams playing in state in Ironton, Boardman 10U and Canfield 10U, both with really, really good starts to the state tournament. Boardman will start with them. They have thrown 2 no-hitters. Let me pull them up real quick. So they beat, they won their first game 8-1, and Julia Putko threw a no-hitter in 6 innings, gave up just 1 run. It wasn't earned, walked 3, struck out 17. So that was her, 3rd consecutive no-hitter going back to districts to win that state game. And then in the next game, it was another no-hitter. Now, caveat, it was just a 3-inning game because Boardman won 15-0. But still, 3 innings of shutout and no-hit softball. This time, thrown by Rylan Scriber. She gets the win. 3 innings pitched, no runs, no hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. And you do the math, 9 strikeouts in 3 innings. That means nobody put the ball in play against Scriber. So Boardman's off and running. They win their first 2 games, 15-0 and 8-1. And then you go to Canfield's state run, and they are undefeated as well. Yeah, they won their first game against Talmadge 13-1. So they just ran roughshod in that game. And it was a no-hitter for Canfield. It was Clara Enfield and Kylie Kritz that both pitched. Enfield threw 3 innings of no-hit softball, and then Kritz threw another inning to help her out. 9 strikeouts for Enfield, 13-1 victory for Canfield there. And then yesterday they came back and they won 12-1 final score, and it was a 2-hit game pitched by Enfield. She pitched a complete game this time. 6 innings, 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 run. It was not earned. Struck out 15 and walked just 2. 15 strikeouts in 6 innings. That's something. That means only 3 people got out without the strikeout. So Canfield and Boardman both just killing it in the state, and they're both undefeated so far in the state tournament. Congratulations to both those teams as they both continue their run into the rest of the week. We will keep an eye on both of them. We'll keep an eye on Boardman 11U as they lost, as I said, to Hamilton last night. They will play again in the losers bracket. We will keep you guys up to date on all of that stuff. Make sure to keep up on our social media pages and our website, ysnlive.com, to make sure you keep up on those games that are going on. Like I said, we also are going to be keeping an eye over the weekend. It is going to be the Palomino World Series. Youngstown will be heading down to Texas again. It's been a great run for them as they go down to Palomino again and represent Youngstown in the Palomino World Series. First game there is Friday, so we'll be talking about that throughout the week and trying to find ways to preview it. AJ Havrilla will be played on this show. In the second half of the show, we had a chance to interview him this morning. He is a member of that team that will be heading down to Texas to take on the World Series and represent Youngstown. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, of course, we'll have that interview and much more on Running Point. As always, we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We'll be back in a bit.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Like we said before the break, we're going to play an interview with AJ Havrilla. It's a brand new piece of content. Just conducted the interview this morning, and AJ is going to be heading down to Texas with a bunch of Youngstown kids, that Astro Falcons team, to represent Youngstown in the Palomino World Series. Just one of many great accomplishments that he's had this senior season. All-state player from Canfield, YSN Offensive Player of the Year. Division II Co-Player of the Year. There's a lot of great accolades for AJ Avrilla. He wants to add a Palomino World Series championship to his belt, another one I should say to his belt, and he can do that this weekend in Texas. Had a great chance to talk with him about his senior year at Canfield, the great lessons he's learned, going to play at Marshall next year as a college baseball player, and of course the trip down to Texas and what it means to him. So enjoy this interview with Canfield's own AJ Havrilla as he prepares for a trip to the Palomino World Series in Texas. Anthony Hardwick here with a very special summer baseball player profile with AJ Havrilla. You know we had to get him on one more time here on YSN as we wind down the summer. AJ, thanks for joining us here on YSN yet again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Man, you got it. But let's talk about this whirlwind baseball year it's been for you. Start back in your high school season. Obviously, it's your last hurrah with Canfield, and it felt like everything that could have been working for you was working for you. I mean, you get first team All-State. You're an All-Star. You get Offensive Player of the Year at YSN. So many accolades this year. What do you think was working so dang well for you this senior season?
Geez. I think it was this group of guys we had this year. We were a close-knit group. We grew up playing together, and it was really free and loose this year. Just having a lot of fun and going out and competing every day. But yeah, I think what mostly stood out was just it was a lot of fun.
Some kids go into their senior year and they're kind of tight because they know it's their last season. They want to do everything the right way. How did you avoid the tightness and staying loose and just kind of being the best teammate that you could one last time for Canfield?
Yeah, no, I kind of looked at it as a way as, this is it. And we have to leave it out, but also have a lot of fun because we're going to look back on this when we're older and look back at the memories and stuff. So I think we just enjoyed it and had a lot of fun with it while we had it.
Before the season even started, you made your decision on your future and you committed yourself to play at the next level. Well, I want to give you the opportunity to tell everyone where you went. I don't want to take that away from you. If people have been living under a rock since October, where did you decide to continue your baseball career?
Yeah, I'm going to be continuing it at Marshall University.
So you make that decision. First question is, when you make that before your senior season even starts, what kind of weight does that take off your shoulders, knowing that you know exactly where you're going? You don't have to worry about the recruitment or where you're going to be or any of that stress before your senior season even starts.
Yeah, no, it really means a lot because you could play, like I said before, which you play loose and you have more fun. You're not worried about who's watching and what's going to happen. You got something to prove too while you're also playing, is that you made that decision for a reason and you got to leave it out there.
Let's talk about this decision. What was it about Marshall that stuck out to you? And I'm sure there were a lot of schools in the running. What was it about Marshall that made it home, made it feel like it was where you wanted to be?
Yeah, no, it definitely kind of felt like a gritty city there down in Huntington. I loved the coaches and the facilities and everything they had to offer from an athletic and an academic side. So I think it's going to, succeed everything I wanted in a school. And I loved everything about it.
I'm sure with your visits and, getting to meet the players and the coaching staff, you got a good taste of what the next level of baseball looks like. How much do you think Canfield and the schedule you play, and of course, being coached by Gary Niddle, really prepared you for what you're going to see at the next level of D1 baseball?
Oh, for sure. We saw a lot of good arms, in and out this year, and to prepare us and down at Scene and playing these tournaments and then even Texas, just seeing all these good competition is really going to prepare me to be ready for the next level.
So you do all these great things your senior season at Canfield that comes to a close, but your baseball wasn't over by a stretch for this year in the local scene. You go into Bob Scene Park. You're a Class B baseball player again for the Astro Falcons. 5 years now?
Yeah.
With that Astro Falcons team. You dominate through the Class B season. You only lose, I think, 3 games the whole regular season. You win the Class B championship. What was that ride like? I know Class B is a long schedule. You're playing every day of the week. What was that like in the summer, going 23-3 and then winning the Class B championship?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun meeting up with new kids and building a new bond with those guys. But it was fun going out and competing with them every day. It was a long stretch there of games and playing every day, but it makes it fun when you got a good group of guys.
I feel like we ask every Astro Falcon this that we get on the show, but man, what is it about this program that makes everyone kind of want to be an Astro Falcon, and then when they get that uniform, they just succeed so much? I mean, this has been a consistently good Astro Falcons team throughout the last 10 years of Class B baseball.
Yeah, no, we got studs down 1 through 9, and it really helps playing with guys like that. It makes it a lot easier on your part. You just got to do your jobs and when you're asked. But it's really fun to play with such high level guys day in and day out.
14U also won. 16U had a great season, got into the playoffs. What's it like seeing the younger divisions and the future of the Astro Falcons succeed as well, knowing that when you leave that program, it's in good hands?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It just feels like yesterday I was down there playing, looking up to the older guys, and it's kind of what's expected at Astros to win. And I'm happy for them, and it's awesome to see.
We have to talk about Don Pletcher. Obviously, you've been with him for a long time as well with his Astro Falcons team. What has he meant to you? I mean, we talked about Gary Niddle, and obviously your high school coach is going to be one that you remember for a long time. But what did Don Pletcher mean to you as far as the development of your baseball skills and being able to play high-level baseball every summer?
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I remember even when I was 14, him just calling me up and getting me some experience up at the 18U level. He's been awesome towards me. Yeah, I know it's sad our time's winding down together, but it's been an amazing ride with him.
That's what blew my mind when he tweeted out that you and Ben had played for him for 5 years. I'm thinking, did the math, and I'm like, well, that means they had to play for 18U when they were like 14 years old. What was that like? I mean, getting to be able to play kids that were 4 years older than you and playing in the 18U level when you were just 14, 15.
Yeah, no, it was definitely crazy. I remember even playing with my older brother when he was 18, when I was down at 14 and getting called up. But it's been a lot of fun, and it was a really cool experience to do that.
So now one of the great things that you did, obviously, you won the Class B championship, but you also won the Palomino East Zone championship last week as well, to punch yet another ticket to Texas. I feel like we talk about this every year with Youngstown being represented in Texas. What's it like this year? What do you think makes this year's team a little bit different than teams in the past that have gone down to Texas and obviously had a lot of success?
Yeah, like I said before, we're a close group, and I know I was even playing like some video games with the guys last night, just talking about our trip. We're gonna have some fun down there, and then when it comes to game time, we're gonna lock it in and play hard.
You're kind of used to this trip by now. I'm wondering what was it like the first time you went down to Texas and the first time you went down to this Palomino World Series, and how have you kind of grown accustomed to what it takes to go down there and win?
It's hot, but no, there's a lot of good competition. It's gonna be pretty cool to play teams from all over the world and see what different cultures are in the game of baseball. But I think you just got to go out there and play hard every day, and what comes out will happen.
Obviously, the baseball is a big reason why you go down there, but obviously there's team bonding. There's getting to know these players. You can't make a trip to Texas with these kids without getting to know them a little bit more. What's that like for you to have one last hurrah with these guys that you might not play baseball with again after this weekend's over?
Yeah, no, it's been awesome through my youth career, just meeting a lot of new kids and meeting and getting to know a lot of new people. That's one of the things I love about baseball is you get to grow, and as a person, you get to meet a lot of new people, and I think it's gonna be a really fun experience.
I want to talk about the relationship with you and Ben Slanker because it feels like you two have been on this journey together for a long time. Canfield, you're both All-State. You're both on this Astros team. You're both going down to Palomino. What's it been like to be on this last ride with him, with your sidecar, and to be able to share all these great experiences with Ben?
Yeah, Slank is the man. I think we were talking about in the car yesterday. I don't think we haven't played a game together like throughout our whole youth career, and it's gonna be crazy how this is the last weekend we're gonna take it in and enjoy it and have a lot of fun.
When you get to college, everything becomes a little bit more serious, and obviously baseball becomes more of a job, and you're really taking baseball seriously. Not that you didn't in high school, but what are some things that you think you're going to miss about the high school baseball and this level of baseball that you play now, and some of the things that might be different between it and when you go and play in college?
Oh, for sure. I mean, growing up, you play with some of your best friends that you go to school with, and you've known your whole lives. So, college baseball, you get thrown in with a new group of people, which I'm sure I'll become close with and become good friends with. But it's a little different, growing up in elementary and middle school with these kids you've been playing with. So, it's gonna be hard to see them go, but I'm ready for the new experience.
You've been able to play with and against a lot of guys that have gone on to play college baseball. What is some advice that you've gotten over the last couple of months about, what it's going to be like to step on campus as a freshman and get introduced to the next level of baseball at Marshall?
Yeah, no, luckily at Canfield, we have a lot of successful athletes come and go to play at the collegiate level. So, I think the main thing they say is hard work. Just put in a lot of hard work, even when no one's watching it, and it's going to pay off.
You brought up your brother earlier, being able to play with him when he was 18 with the Astro Falcons, and your family has been, it seems like, a part of YSN and the YSN lore for a long time. Let's talk about them for a while and what it means to have their support and how much they've meant to you along this journey in the local scene, and how much it's going to be, cool to play at a place where it's not that far away. They can still come to a lot of games if they want, they don't have to travel all the way to Florida all the time to see you play or something like that.
Yeah.
How much has your family meant, and how much did the proximity of Marshall really go into that decision?
Yeah, no, definitely. They've been very supportive of me my whole life and what I've done in baseball, and they're always there for me. And it was really exciting how it's only about 4 hour and 15 drive, so they could shoot up on a weekend and come watch.
What is the best form of advice you've gotten from a family member over your career?
I mean, it's kind of cliche, but just to have fun with it. And baseball's a game where you're gonna fail a lot, and just enjoy it and have fun with your guys you're playing with to not stress about little things.
When you're at the level you are, I mean, you said it's a cliche, but I'm sure there were times when that was hard. I mean, you're taking things really seriously. You're playing in high stakes games in the playoffs, and you're getting recruited by D1 schools. What was it for you that let you just have fun with baseball and not take it too seriously and not be stressed out by all the things that success really do bring to a kid?
Yeah, probably like when I get home, kind of forget about it. Forget about it because tomorrow's going to be a new day of baseball, and sometimes you go 3 for 3, sometimes you go for 3. It's just about forgetting it, and there's a lot of other things that go into it. So yeah, just trying to forget things, and it's over and done with.
What is something you have in your life that you can go to forget about baseball when you have to do it? You can go to and it turns your mind off of the sport.
Oh, geez, I log way too many hours on my video games, my MLB The Show. When I need to get my mind off it, I know I could always hit some missiles in the show, so I'll lean to that sometimes.
So you're an MLB The Show veteran. What's the go-to team to play with when you're squaring it up on the show?
I'm a guards guy, so I'll
Right.
stick with Guardians.
You stick with the local team, okay? Who's the best player on your team at the show? Like, are you the best on your team, or do you think that there's someone that gives you a hard time?
Oh no, I'm by far the best.
You got it.
Not even close.
When you think about this trip to Texas and the non-baseball memories that you have with this trip, what are some of the most fun stories that you can tell us about being able to take a trip to Texas with these guys and being able to just have fun one last time?
Yeah, no, I think it's even like going out to eat with the guys and messing around and just having a good time. Those are the things you kind of don't forget. And yeah, I think it's just the little things like that and being in a hotel room. I think it's just having fun and enjoying it.
All right, so before we let you go, I gotta ask, what makes you the most excited about playing at the next level in college, and then what makes you the most nervous about taking that next step?
Geez, I think it's just going to be such high level baseball I'm excited for. And it's going to open my eyes a little bit, but it's going to make me work a lot lot. Well, just gonna make me work really hard and to succeed. But it's gonna be fun.
And before we let you go, want to always give you the chance to give shout outs to people in your life that have been in your corner, whoever you want to kind of make sure that they're acknowledged in their probably one of your last YSN interviews as a local player.
Yeah.
Who are some people that you think really deserve to be shouted out before you go?
I think just shout out to my parents and my family for being so supportive of me throughout this journey that I've gone through, and I'm just thankful I have them in my life.
AJ, we thank you so much for the time and coming on with us right before your trip to Palomino. By the way, if you're wondering, starts on Friday. You can follow them down there. Friday is when the Palomino World Series starts, as AJ and his teammates will represent Youngstown again. Thank you so much for the time. We're so proud of you down here at YSN. You know that we're always here for you. Anything you need, you got it. And we'll keep following you down as a member of the Thundering Herd at Marshall.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
AJ Haverly, we had to have him on YSN one more time. I mean, he's a staple of YSN. He's been a staple of YSN. That family's been a staple of YSN for such a long time. And you know what? We had to get him on one more time before he heads down to Marshall and he heads down to Texas for the Palomino World Series. So what a great interview and a great young man that we've had the pleasure to cover over the last 4 years in his high school career. He's going to be a member of one of just 6 Division I NCAA programs that are having a mascot with a nickname that does not end in S. That's a nice little trivia about Marshall that I keep in my back pocket. And I always ask people if they can name the other 5. I'm not going to do it for you. If you can, find it out. It's some of them are kind of obvious. Some of them are you have to dig a little bit. But I think there are 6 if I'm not mistaken. And Thundering Herd, I gave you 1. Thundering Herd, there's 1. There's 5 more out there that don't end in S, and that's something that maybe you can chew your brain on a little bit in this in the rest of this Monday. I want to take the time before we go to remind everybody that if you are interested in joining the YSN team and being a member of the YSN family, one, it is a perfect time to join because we are gearing up for the fall sports season and we are about to have our YSN Academy. And we want you to be there. We want you to be there. If you are interested in joining YSN, make sure to head over to our social media, find those posts for all the dates. Our first one is going to be Friday, June 28th. And then we will have another one on August 3rd and August 4th. Friday will be at Double Bogies at the Southern Park Mall. And then the next 2 will be at Athletics in Columbiana. So if you are interested in being a member of our team, if you want to be an announcer, if you want to be a video editor, if you want to be a content producer, if you want to be a guy that works with me on social media, photographer, whatever, there are plenty of things that we can do to fit what you want to do. It doesn't have to be an announcer. If you're like, love sports, love what YSN is doing, I want to be a part of it, but maybe I'm just not made to be an announcer, we have spots for you. We'd love to add you to the team. One, reach out to our social media accounts. Let us know that you're interested. And then head on down to one of the YSN academies. We'd love to have you there. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to get you as a member of our team. So make sure you do all that. We are always trying to grow. And we can't wait to see some old faces and some new faces at the YSN academies coming up this week. Also, if you are in the market for a newer used vehicle, I want to tell you to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I know you heard from them on the break, but I want to tell you a little bit more about my wonderful presenting sponsor on Running Point, Greenwood Chevrolet. And did you know that you can test drive the new Chevy Trax? And it is the only place that you'll be able to test drive the Chevy Trax. It is exclusively at Greenwood Chevrolet, and it is available for test drives. This Chevy Trax, man, it looks slick. I don't know if you've seen it yet. Greenwood has a couple of pictures and promos of it on their Facebook page. Head over to Greenwood Chevrolet Facebook to find it. But man, it looks slick. It is a car that you definitely want. And if you want to test drive it, all you have to do is head down to Greenwood Chevrolet. They're the only spot where you can test drive the new 2024 Chevy Trax. Make sure to get on down there, give it a test drive, and make sure that you thank them and you tell them that Anthony sent you. You tell them that someone from YSN sent you. They might smile on you with a little bit more of a shine if you do that. So want to get that out of the way and thank Greenwood Chevrolet yet again for their constant support of Running Point since day one and all the twists and turns that it has taken over the years. We are going to continue as the week goes on into our Into the Vault series as well. We have not abandoned that. We got more winter sports player profiles that we're going to relive before the month of July is over. So stay tuned for that. We kind of make the interview decision the morning of. We go through a bunch of them and we decide, hey, this one was a really good one, a decorated player. Let's get them on. Let's relive their player profile. But I want to remind everybody that we are going to continue that series as well. But we also want to get new content, which is what we had AJ Heverla on today. We're never going to stop getting new content on the show, but we do want to relive some of the great player profiles that we were able to get over the last school year. So we will continue to do that this week and the month of July. I want to remind everybody about that. We will be back on Running Point tomorrow from 1 to 2. Before that, though, check out the Power Hour today, 3 to 4, because it is the debut of our new spot in athletics, our brand new YSN studio in athletics and Columbiana. DJ will be live from there today at 3 o'clock for the Power Hour. You don't want to miss it. Brand new digs for YSN. I will definitely be doing shows down there in the near future. I will be in there. Everyone will be in there. It's a great new place to be. So make sure to check out the Power Hour today from 3 to 4 to check out what our new studio is going to look like. And other than that, man, go watch Austin Town's 12U team on ESPN Plus at 2 o'clock. Good luck to them. Good luck to the Boardman 11U Little League baseball team. Good luck to Boardman and Canfield's 10U softball team as all of those teams continue to work for a state championship. Austin Town going for a regional championship. We wish them the best of luck, and we'll be watching them today as well. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And once again, thanking our wonderful sponsor, Greenwood. We will see you guys tomorrow from 1 to 2 on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet